Well, good Monday morning, South Central. A lot to talk about when it comes to what we're going to be dealing with this week, as well as strong storm or strong low that's set to impact not only us here in South Central, but areas out towards western Alaska, as well as along the slope and through southwest Alaska into the interior. One quick look of what we're seeing outside. You can see those overcast skies quickly making a return to South Central. This is shaving off or taking away those sunny skies that we did see for a large portion of last week. But getting to what we are dealing with today across the state when it comes to the multitude of impacts that we are set to see across Alaska. Notice the multitude of weather alerts that we have, from weather advisories here in South Central to some high wind advisory or high wind warnings out west. We've got some wind advisories through the interior, winter storm warnings through the Brooks Range. So a multitude of impacts to be expected through the remainder of today and into our Tuesday. And we'll be talking about each and every one of these as we work our way through this little mini broadcast about what we're going to be expecting as we welcome in the remainder of your Monday on into Tuesday. So already beginning to see the impacts of some of those stronger winds as you head out west. Notice that persistent southwesterly flow that we are seeing for areas out towards western and southwest Alaska. This is where we're seeing that potential for coastal flooding looking likely about 4 to 8 feet above normal high tide. The area of low pressure itself that is impacting the state. That is still north of Russia, but its impacts are being felt all across the state as far east as the eastern interior. But those southwesterly winds, they've been pumping in not only those warmer conditions, but leading to some high winds, which have already been gusting upwards of about 60 miles per hour. But notice temperature changes across the state, anywhere from about 5 to nearly 30 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. That is the power of those southwesterly winds that continues to pull in that moisture as well as that warmth, which is going to be a big driver in the type of precip we're going to see for parts of the state. Into the interior, we do have reports that the University of Alaska Fairbanks has closed in-person school for today, as well as the Fairbanks School District as well. Now, we are seeing that virtual classroom, virtual online schooling still available, but in-person classes has been canceled due to the potential for some of that freezing rain, as well as the likelihood that we could see some difficult travel conditions. That is the power of those warmer air that is building in across the state, leading to some areas seeing that changeover to some wintry mix. Winds so far today have been gusting anywhere from 25 to nearly 60 miles per hour. Some of those stronger winds have been out towards western parts of the Aleutians, but you can see down through the western coast from Point Hope down through Bethel, those winds have been gusting anywhere from about 40 to nearly 55 miles per hour. And those winds will steadily increase through the day. And again, not only will that transport moisture across the state as well as those warmer conditions, but that could lead to some additional impacts out towards Bethel and surrounding locations. If you remember back in August, that persistent southwesterly flow that we did see with one of those stronger storms led to the backing up of the Kuskokwim River. That is possible again today into our Tuesday. So for locations near Bethel, Napakiak, be prepared for the possibility that you could see some minor flooding as that strong southwesterly flow, in addition to that coastal flooding, could lead to the potential for some of those water to back up, which will lead to the likelihood that we could see some minor flooding. So that's one thing we are watching for areas out towards southwest Alaska. Now, as far as looking at the state as a whole, when it comes to our impacts, south gusts to 75 miles per hour, with some of the greatest concerns being the northwestern parts of the state, from as you head from Point Hope down towards Kotzebue and those surrounding locations. This is where we could see winds gusting up to 75 miles per hour throughout today and into tomorrow. Coastal flooding, again, water 4 to 8 feet above high tide. And then when it comes to the snow that we're going to see, some of the heaviest snowfall accumulation will be for the Noatak Valley, 18 to 28 inches, and the western Brooks Range could see 12 to 24 inches. With that being said, as you head through parts of the central Brooks Range, we're also going to see the possibility that we could see up to about 8 to 14 inches of snow with some strong winds. And of course, those winds will lead to the potential that we could see visibility drop to less than a half a mile at times. So if you're driving along the Dalton Highway through Atagoon Pass out towards Anaktuvik, you are expected to see the potential that there could be some lowering visibility throughout the day and into Tuesday, as those heavy snow showers as well as those winds winds begin to spread eastward across the state. So that's the impacts that we are going to see with this storm system. And again, into the interior, we do have a multitude of areas up under winter storm warnings. We've got some wind advisories for areas out towards the Alaska range near Trim Creek. Let me go ahead and put out these warnings for you for what we're seeing when it comes to the interior. We've got a wind advisory in effect until midnight for the eastern Alaska range north of Trim's Camp. That's for winds up to 55 miles per hour. A winter storm warning until 4 p.m. for the south slopes of the central Brooks Range. And again, 10 to 18 inches expected for the south slopes of the central Brooks Range. And then a winter storm warning in effect until 4 p.m. Tuesday for the upper Kobuk valleys. That is for 6 to 12 inches of snowfall. And then as you head through the White Mountains, higher terrain south of the Yukon River, the Chena River Valley, as well as the Chinnika River Valley, this is where we could see 8 to 15 inches of snowfall. Meanwhile, as you head out towards the Middle Tanana Valley, Eielson Air Force Base, not only will we see the potential for about 4 to 10 inches of snow, but there will also be the likelihood that we could see a glaze of ice as we head through the morning hours. Precipitation will change over this morning to a wintry mix and then eventually rain with a changeover back to snow expected. So that is some of the impacts that we are going to see through the interior as we welcome in the remainder of your Monday. Now here in South Central, as we welcome in the afternoon hours, notice we're going to be warm enough that we are going to primarily see rain in the forecast for the Kenai, Anchorage, as well as southern parts of the Mat-Su Valley. Now northern parts of the Mat-Su Valley, or northern parts of the Susitna Valley, that is for locations north of Talkeetna. You are expecting to see the potential for 6 to 10 inches of snowfall with a trace amount of ice possible as far south as Willow. Most of South Central will see primarily rain with this event, as we're going to see our southeasterly winds kick in later today, which could be quite gusty, anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour across South Central. And those gusty winds will drive in those warmer conditions. That is why we're primarily going to see rain for most of South Central. It's going to take some time to erode away that colder air further north that you head in the Susitna Valley. That is why we have that winter weather advisory in place. As we head through the overnight hours into tomorrow, that system shifts east. We're going to see rain beginning to transition to some snow out towards Valdez, Thompson Pass, where we could see 5 to 10 inches of that snow accumulation. And of course, through the Copper River Basin, also expecting to see the potential for some light snow as well. But as we've been talking about, the greatest impacts will be felt out west and along the slope in the form of that coastal flooding and some high winds. As we welcome in our Tuesday, as that area of low pressure begins to skirt the Arctic coastline, we're going to see more in the way of snow beginning to fall across the state, and we're actually going to tap into some colder conditions as that system begins to pull off towards the east, and this is going to allow for colder weather to spill back in across the state. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. Looking at this snow total forecast here over the next couple of days, some of the notable areas that's going to see some of that heavier snowfall: the western Brooks Range through the central Brooks Range, out towards the Alaska Range, of course the Chugach Mountains out towards Valdez and Thompson Pass, and then through parts of the interior. This is where you're going to see some of those heavier snowfall totals as we welcome in the remainder of today on into your Tuesday. And again, down through the Kenai, Anchorage, and then southern parts of the Mat-Su Valley, largely expected to remain just primarily rain. There is an outside chance that Wasilla and Palmer could see some wintry mix mixed in into the evening hours. Of course, that largely will depend on temperatures, but I think we'll stay warm enough, as many locations through the night across South Central will only drop into the upper 30s and the lower 40s. But with that being said, colder weather will quickly arrive back in South Central. As that low begins to skirt the eastern, or skirt along the Arctic slope, we're going to begin to see colder conditions spill in on the backside of that. So by Thursday, highs drop back into the 30s across South Central, and as we welcome in the weekend, we're going to begin to see those highs dropping down near freezing, with overnight lows in the teens and the 20s. So this brief warming trend that we're seeing is all thanks in large part to that large storm system that is currently impacting the state that will stay with us today and into tomorrow. And you can see just how warm those temperatures will be. 36 in Nukiavik, 36 as well in Dead Horse, 40 degrees in Fairbanks. And again, we are seeing classes canceled through Fairbanks and surrounding locations, due in large part to that rain that is going to fall on top of that snow and lead to some of those slick conditions for parts of the interior. So take it easy on those roadways. Anywhere that you're going to see this winter weather, you want to take it easy, as there could be some blowing snow, which could lower visibility at times. And of course, you could see some impassable conditions when you're dealing with some of that possible whiteout with some of that heavier winds that we will see. So warm conditions to be expected today. And then as we close out this week and welcome in the weekend, again, we're talking about those highs steadily dropping, largely expecting to be on the drier side here in South Central, but we will be watching for the chance that we could see some areas of snow or wintry mix as we welcome in the middle to the end of this week. For now, keeping us on the drier side, but there is that possibility we could see some areas of snow and wintry mix throughout this week. So we'll be watching that, but notice though, the big trend beyond today will be those temperatures steadily dropping back near freezing by Saturday and Sunday, with overnight lows in the teens and 20s. Again, take it easy today across the state, particularly in areas where you are going to be get hit heavier with that snowfall here in South Central. Again, the best chance will be north of Talkeetna with the greatest accumulation, but we could see a trace amount of ice as far south as Willow. We'll have more on this coming up in the noon show as well as in the evening newscast. For now, make sure you have a great Monday, and if you are in some of those areas that's impacted from this storm, take it easy on those roadways, and of course let us know what you are seeing in your neck of the woods. Again, we'll have more on that coming up in the noon show as well as in the evening newscast. For now, have a great Monday.